Right. I can't wear a wool hat. As sad as it is, I this hat is made of wool, and we have a red weather warning right now. It's too hot for this. I'm hugging an ice block. It's just too hot for this. Okay, so I hope everybody is actually staying cool and hydrated during this horrific heat wave. So, we have a typical witch story today. Oh, I've done the thing again. Hi, Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Okay, nearly forgot the intro again. We have the typical witch story. But when I say typical witch story, I mean we've been following stories that are exploring the different ways of magic and how people have been either subjected to or people who are utilizing magic in interesting and unique ways. We have a Garth Nix story, The Unexpected Excursion of the Murder Mystery Writing Witches. The Murder Mystery Writing Witches. I think this is too much of a long title, mainly because you don't need that in this story. It's not important per se. I have a complaint about that title. It's too long and you don't technically need it because you don't get much of them being writers or what they write about. I mean, it's partially in the story, but I still don't think it's necessary to have such a long title. This is the quintessential what you would expect from a witch, from cultural norms of what you would picture a witch to be. We have the broomsticks, we have the incantations, we've got the speaking into a clock, an incantation, and that opens up into a secret room with all of your witch books type of thing. And so we've got we open up onto a woman, Dorothy, writing, and then the ink from her fountain pen spills, but she doesn't move to mop it up immediately. She just lets it go until it fills every corner of the page. And then we get Agatha speaking through the ink. It's kind of like a mirror reflection, but it's not Dorothy's face, but Agatha, and the ink parts when Agatha speaks. And she's just having the most British woman chat through this paper. Oh yes, my little Peter, your terrier, your little dog. Yes, Peter, he's jumped up and typed on my typewriter. What was the name of the villain? Some kind of demon of some kind. The Beast of Howlradon is out. He's such a clever little dog. It's quite hilarious just having this woman just praise her puppy that he's warning them of this thing that's coming. This beast, this apparently a rat, but it's not a rat. It's like kind of has characteristics of a rat when a form is taken. And so she's asking Dorothy to look up from a certain text that only she has because she's the one that can speak a certain language to translate, because the text itself was written in both English and Latin, and so it needs to be like translated and understood. And Garth Nix knows the importance of ravens And it's quite funny because ravens are sent as the messengers, not owls, because ravens are smarter. Oh, what's the technical term? Corvids. Not for the first time, Dorothy wondered if it might not be better to employ owls at night time, but they are so much less intelligent than corvids that impressing introduction to their tiny minds was painful and annoying. This is, oh, I love it. I mean, everybody who is in knowing of like paganism and witchcraft in real life, by the way, my sister-in-law has a witch shop, amazing, and even she knows, everybody knows, ravens are better than owls. Some people didn't get the memo. I'm just throwing shade, okay? And I'm gonna. I mean, of course I'm gonna. But yeah. So we have obviously the smart ravens, but I also like how there's a slight hiccup with it because Agatha doesn't want the ravens to be sent because they will knock on every single window and, except for hers, which is hilarious. So they'll get the building right, just not the right window, which is funny because Dorothy's having to like say, the correct address, please. And there's like a mention later when they meet up going, that raven knocked on my neighbour's window before mine. So even though it is like acknowledging that owls are not the best one, there is still a slight hiccup using bird messengers. I mean, why not pigeons? That's my question, is why not pigeons? That they're already being used as carrier pigeons. But yeah, but there's also the fact that she's got to write in an ink that only people with witch sight can see, and that means she's got to write in pencil like a code, like if it's something to do with betting, the police are just gonna think it's an illegal gambling ring rather than German spies like sending messages back and forth to one another. So they're just like having to be clever about it in case the message does get intercepted by police or soldiers, because this is set during World War II. So it is quite interesting having that as the setting as well. It is also at the time when the Blitz is calming down, so people aren't taking their gas masks everywhere they go, but they could still maybe get away with carrying their gas mask boxes just in case. But it's during that time, so they do have gas masks readily available, which does come in handy because of the gaseous nature of the beast. Because they say, right, you bring your gas mask, because this element does have a gaseous nature to it, and it's best to take it. And also cloak of invisibility, and keep below a certain height in case you get spotted by people and might get shot down. So it's just them having to navigate around the military operations and trying not to get spotted by RAF and those guys that keep saying put that light out, because at the very beginning she's like having to very carefully walk past her window because her office space is cramped, and she doesn't mind talking to the really annoying guy, RAC guy. about it is just it wastes time. It wastes time, and so she doesn't like the idea of invoking the conversation of gotta be more careful with your curtains. I just love the broomsticks. They are named, and there's a crossbar and a saddle, and that Dorothy, even though she can ride astride, she's been brought up getting the hang of side saddle. So side sitting on her broomstick, and oh, and how hers. So what was the name of hers again? I remember the witches' names, but I don't remember the name of her broomstick. But yeah, they name their broomstick. They have some kind of a green shimmer to them with the magic, and they just like don't like being stationary as well. So when they do go to the place, oh, there's a third witch as well. There's got to be a third witch. But yeah, Josephine, it is Josephine, right? Yes, Josephine is coming down for a radio show, and they meet. They send word. She can actually send, because unlike Agatha, Josephine can be contacted through the telephone. She's not that paranoid that people are listening through the telephone. Nice to know that that paranoia hasn't gone away. And so we have this lovely meeting in the sky with all the three witches, and because the broomsticks don't like to be stationary, they're just like circling around at a certain height with their cloaks of invisibility. I like the added bonus of their headwear. It's something to do with that they can see each other. Tarams. So they've got certain headwear. Dorothy's selected to wear her tin hat and motorcycle flying goggles, so she can not get wind in her eyes. But Agatha's got some. I had to look this up real quick. So the actual objects, a Tarnhelm, and Agatha made it back in 1920s. It's like a felt cloche, I think, spelling on screen, but it's like this really old-fashioned. It's kind of out of fashion when they are currently in the 1930s during the Blitz. But it's like the old 1920s hat. And she's wearing that, whereas Josephine is wearing a Scottish bonnet. So Josephine, on the other hand, wore a Scottish bonnet, which was entirely unmagical, and her cloak of darkness was in fact very stylish and recent Burberry cape she must have enchanted within the last year. Dante's the name of Dorothy's broom. Johnny is the name of Josephine's broom and is a latest model and can go really fast, whereas Agatha's broom struggle to catch up, because after they've decided on what they're going to do, and there's this conversation of that they need to drop it in like the North Sea's Devil's Pit, because they're all complaining that that's going to take too long. Josephine is just like, no, that's just gonna that's a hop, skip, and a jump. That's fine. So Josephine is going to take the thermos off Dorothy because they're going to trap the beast in a thermos. They were saying that Dorothy's got to dump it in the North Sea's Devil's Pit because it's her thermos. But because Josephine has the fastest broom, and because Dorothy is like so close to the end of her book that which is probably the only reason why the title is so named, because they are writers. So Dorothy's at the end, nearly at the end of her book, wants to get back to it immediately. The conversation is just like, okay, concluded, let's go get this thing, drop it in the ocean. Agatha, so it was less triumphant because the other Dorothy and Josephine ended up like whisking away, having to circle back, and then just like form into a V shape with Agatha leading so slowly. But like in comparison to the other two brooms, it's hilarious. I just love how there's a conversation about London at night during the Blitz. It's just pitch black. You can't see London below because it's been flattened mostly, and it's just that conversation of magic with it as well, and how they've been trying to function without being caught during this like excursion over to the cesspit in which this beast is going to emerge. And so they're having to douse for magic that's not ghosts or gold. Apparently you can like just get a faint hint of the watches by the soldiers, because when they get to the palace that it's supposedly at, there's quite a lot of soldiers camped out, and so they can detect a little bit of gold on the wrists of the soldiers. And yeah, they eventually get to this little pond, and they set up. They hide their brooms. They set up into their formation of three. And they just about start incantation when they get interrupted by Corporal, who has eyes so blue he can see them. He's got the witch sight. And Josephine, in a Scottish accent so thick it pierces through the gas mask, is just like to this corporal, do you have a grandmother who warned you of witches in the night? Or not, wise woman in the night doing deeds? And he's just like, yes, but I also had another grandmother who was not like that. And she was just like, which one will you listen to? And the person who he's with, who cannot understand what is going on or where this voice is coming from, is like stabbing the air with his bayonet. And he's just like, where's this woman coming from? Where's this voice? And the corporal is just like, nothing. The voice is coming from nowhere. Just then drags his subordinate away, and it's just, they don't quite get away in time. And so they do see the explosion by the pond, and this giant gaseous creature starts going for them. And that's when the witches kick in. They start their incantation. Agatha starts the chant, and then one verse later, Dorothy starts the chant. Then one verse later, Josephine's. It's kind of like the song where you've got to like sing a verse after the first verse when the first person is singing the second verse, kind of deal, and then it just like passes on. That would drive me insane, honestly. I don't think I could focus if somebody was making me do that. But they do get the chanting to a close, and then they say all together the binding and get it into the flask. No problem. There's not really much tension. It's just, okay, we're going to just do this. And then there's a conversation of, why didn't the wizards do this? I also love how Josephine does some cartwheels after every single time they do something like this. And she basically just cartwheels, takes a bow, and then takes the thermos and goes. And Dorothy is just commenting, going, it was impressive the first few times, decades back, but now it's more impressive because Josephine is 45. Dorothy's like the middle age of the group, what, 40 something or something? Agatha being in her 50s, is the lead witch, which means she makes the decisions. But the wizard conversation is like, oh my god, I wanted to underline it so badly because it's so funny. Because at the very beginning, Dorothy is just like, why can't they this people do it? Why can't they do it? And Agatha's just like, oh no. And it's just like, not work we should have needed to do. Why are we always the ones having to clean up after wizards? Because they'd only make it worse, replied Agatha. Dorothy did not agree. She thought that this was just a convenient excuse for wizards to avoid unpleasant work, but there was no point with arguing with Agatha about this, particularly since she knew the older witch secretly thought everyone was far less competent than herself, and if something needed doing, she had to do it herself, or at least be in charge. Your ink spell sucked up 2 paws of my new book, by the way. Totally gone. Oh, I love the bickering some of these witches have about the wizards, and just the competition between like finishing the book, because Agatha releases the information that's just finished. She's releasing 2 new books this next year. She's just finished the last draft, and that spurs Dorothy to race ahead just so she can finish their book. So there's a little competition between them. Yes, they are writers, but it really doesn't matter to the title. But I love the slight commentary that takes, it's very subtle because it's barely discussed, but it's there. Like, yeah, this is partially sexism in a way, because they're not going to clean up after themselves. Really. Ish, wizards, what can I say? But yeah, that was this week's short story. I really love this witch collection so much. This one was what you would expect from the stereotypical witch story, and it still had its own uniqueness to it. I'm a happy bunny. I'm a happy bunny. I'm a happy raven. Yes, I really would like to see more of just the typical witch explored. I was actually really excited to dive into Garth Nix' writing, because I do have 2 books. But there's I don't have book 1 of the Sabriel series. I think it's Sabriel. But yeah, I think Daniel Green got me interested in that series, and I have 2 of the 4 books in it. So I'm kind of getting there to hopefully dive into that series of Garth Nix's, but until I can, release my book buying ban, I can't get book 1 yet. Oh well, it's fine. But I did enjoy Garth Nix's writing. I'm interested to see how he deals with other fantasy stuff, because this was actually really interesting, and I loved the bickering of these witches. They had their own personalities as well, and I thought it was done really well. Because I think dialogue is difficult to get right, but this was actually really great, and we got the personality of all 3 of them in their dialogue as well, and just the cartwheels by Josephine at the end, just because she's a PE teacher or something like that. And it does shine through, and I did love it. So I just love strong characters that have their personality, and it's just, I mean, the plot was straightforward. It was not tense, but it did have that actiony aspect to it, and I did enjoy it. It was, I think, just this, even the spectacle itself was really well done, even though there was no fake out tenseness to it. was just like, okay, this thing's got to happen, and it's very inconvenient that we have to freaking do it. It's very inconvenient for us to do it, but we'll do it anyways. And we'll moan about it as well. I loved it. It was brilliant. But yeah, that was this week's short story. I'm going to put up a notice that I'm not going to be in the comments section. I'm actually going to be offline the day after this goes up. So I'm not going to be about for the usual stuff. Just a quick heads up. So when this gets uploaded, I'm going on holiday the day after. I do have a short story prepared. I'm going to stop filming this and record that one. But I won't be in the comment section for that one either until I get back. I'm going offline and I'm not going to be watching YouTube. This is like a making myself rest from everything type of holiday. Ugh. So yeah. Bye, Shell.
And bye to all the other wonderful weirdos witching.